Hello, hello, and welcome to the Sisyphus Skyscraper Hair Latin Square Oku uh, challenge puzzle where I'm going to show you how to solve this puzzle. It's not a chaos construction, it's a Latin square puzzle, so no regions, just regular, normal Latin square. 1 to 8 in each row and column. And we have Sisyphus clues and skyscraper clues. So skyscraper clues are the easier of the two, so let's start with those ones. The purple clues, purple and black, of course, my color scheme. Like and subscribe, of course. Skyscraper clues give the number of skyscrapers seen from that direction if the digits are considered the height of the skyscraper. So if you think about 5, 6, 7 in that column, that would be 4 skyscrapers seen, and all the 1, 2, 3s are hidden behind this 8 skyscraper because the skyscraper is so big. We could also do something like that, or we could also do that. That would work as well because this one is below that one. So all of those are valid skyscrapers. Sisyphus, a little bit more difficult. So Sisyphus is a rule set developed by Sisyphos, and essentially it's like a rock rolling through the grid. And this rock starts on the cell outside the grid and rolls into the cell that's adjacent to it. And then it only rolls from higher digits to lower digits. But if you had something like that, with the 4s next to each other, since they're equal value, then we have to decide what the rock does. And what we've decided the rock does, I'm going to turn on pen tool because apparently that's off for some reason. What we've decided the rock does, well, Fistmafel decided the rock does, is goes straight. So it doesn't turn if the values are equal, which makes some interesting logic in terms of this 6 and 4, for example. All right, so, and the 7 and below. All right, so let's get into it. Feel free to try the puzzle if you have not yourself. This is normally a puzzle which people do with 2 players, so one person would have the skyscraper clues, one person would have the Sisyphus clues. Unfortunately, I did not have another player because Clark was busy, but I'm going to solve it myself with just the one grid, and feel free to do that as well. It's playable as a single player or a multiplayer. A lot harder to find a friend because we're all, puzzle nerds, but yeah. Okay, let's get into it. So first we can look at the 6 or 4, and we can say, okay, well, that has to be at least a 6, because if it was a 5, then you couldn't get all the way down. It's kind of like a thermometer. Like if you had a 5 here, then let's just say it went straight down. Then we would do 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, that's only 5 cells, not 6 cells. So we need it to be at least 6 cells, so we need the cell outside of it to be at least 6. We can do the same thing for each of these Sisyphus clues. So this has to be 7 or 8. This has to be at least a 3. This has to be at least a 3. This has to be at least a 1. I think I'm not doing that. This has to be at least a 3. Of course, 9 is not in an 8x8 grid, so I'm just deleting it whenever I accidentally put it in. And we could do that if we really want to. We don't have to do that, but we could also do some things with the skyscrapers. So if you want a skyscraper of 6, well, you can't put a 7 or an 8 or a 6 in front of it, because then you would only have 3 skyscrapers at most. Because anything lower than 6 is going to be covered by the 6. Anything lower than 8 is going to be covered by the 8. So the maximum value you could have in a 6 skyscraper clue would be the maximum digit plus 1 minus the skyscraper clue. So 1, 2, or 3. So this can be maximum 3. The 3 can be maximum 6. Yeah. The 2 can be maximum 7, because 9 minus 2 is 7. The 5 can be maximum 5. 5, I want to say. 9 minus 5, that's 4. That's not 5. The 4 can be maximum. 5. Okay, so we can do all those. And I'm not missing a digit, am I? I think for some reason I'm missing a clue. Just gonna double check that I'm not missing a clue. No, I'm not missing a clue. I think I'm thinking of a different clue that I had in a different iteration of the puzzle or something. There was like a 1 here. Okay, so this digit is obviously less than this digit. So we're going to have to do that, because even if this digit was equal to that digit, well, that's not true. Forget that. Edit that out. Get that out of here. Okay, so the 6 and the 4. 6 is not equal to 4. Let's just get that out of the way, right? So if, let's say that this was an 8 and this is a 6. Well, then both the 6 and the 4 would go this way. But how can the 6 and the 4 go that way? Because then we're going to have a path. We're going to like make this thermometer 6 long. But if it's 6 long, then the 4 clue is broken. So we need to split them up somehow. But if we start them on the same path, then we can never split them up because they're going the same direction. So we need to start from when they come into the grid. They're going, I thought you could draw outside the grid. They're going different directions. They're going like this. And we need them to pass in the night. We need to cross beams. So the only way to cross beams is to not have either of these digits be lower than each other, because then the path would preferentially use that digit. They need to be the same digit in order for both paths to cross in the night. This has to be 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. Because that is the max, or the minimum, no, the maximum. 5 is the maximum that this 4 skyscraper could have. But how can we have less than 5? Because we just talked about, if this is a 5, we're not going to get enough. It's not a long enough thermometer. We can't have the highest digit on the thermometer be 5. It needs to be at least, or the longest digit on a 6-cell thermometer can't be a 5. The highest digit, not longest digit. That doesn't even make any sense. The highest digit can't be 5 on a 6-cell thermometer. And similarly, the second highest digit on a 6-cell thermometer can't be 4, because then you would have 0 on the bowl at least, at most. I don't know, something. At most, yes. So this has to be a 5, because otherwise we would have this path not being long enough. So these are both 5, because they're the same digit. Remove some 5s from our wonderful pencil marks. And now this 4 has to see the 7, 8, and the 6, 7, and 8 in order, because if the 6, for example, was hiding behind the 7, then you would only see 1, 2, 3, because any digit lower than 5 will be hidden by the 5. So we need to see 6, 7, 8 in some order. We don't know which order, but we know for sure that this isn't a 7, because if that's a 7, there's an 8 somewhere along here that's hiding it. So that has to be an 8. Which is very interesting, because if this is an 8, then one of these 3 digits has to be either a 6 or a 7, but the other digits can't be lower than a 6 or 7. So they need to be either equal to that 6 or 7 or be higher than it, which could only be a 7. So how could we have a 7 there? How could the 7, or sorry, not the 7 there, but how could the 7 be on the path? Let's draw these paths. Let's make this one red and the other one green. So how could the path do that and have a 7 here? Well, if the path did that and have a 7 there, then both of these would have to be higher than 7, or equal to 7. But that's not possible because one of them is a 6 because of Latin square. One of them is a 6 in the row. So the path cannot go to a 7 ever if it's here. This could be a 6 and it could go there. But we can never have a 7 that the path goes to here. So either there's a 7 in here that the path goes to, or this is a 6 and the path goes there. We don't know too much about it, but we know some things. The other interesting thing with the Sisyphus clues is that a 1 will always be the end of a Sisyphus clue. So if I had a 1 here, right? Well, I can put a 2 and a 1 here and have this be 3, 2, 1, and that would look like such a nice little pyramid there. That's such a nice little thermometer, but what I can't do is put a 1 next to it, because then we're not going to go to the 2. We're going to go to the lowest one, the 1. So we can never have a 1 next to a Sisyphus clue or next to the end of the path. So I couldn't put a 1 in either of those two cells either, or even there, because that would end these paths before they reach their total. It has to be the end. So we can actually go through these. 3, that can't be a 1. 3, that can't be a 1. And none of these can be 1s. So we can add some no 1-inch clues if we want. These can't be 1s. So we can see that 1 in this column is pretty restricted. It's in one of these two cells. And, well, that obviously can't be a 1 either. So I guess we could highlight some more cells here. Oh, I was premature with this. We don't know which of these is the end of the path. Whichever one is the end of the path can't have a 1 next to it. But, and of course I noticed that because of column 1. Column 1 has no place for 1 except for right there, which is interesting because now neither of these two can be the next step in the path, because then the path would end at 3, and 3 knowledge bomb is not equal to 7. So we actually know that this path goes this way. But how could the path go that way? Well, the path could only go that way if this was a lower digit than both of these, because if this is a 6 also, the path will go straight, because if they're equal, then the path goes straight. So both of these have to be 7s, and that has to be a 6. And I thought this was a really interesting pattern because now we have 7, 8, and 6. So this digit is less than all of these digits. So how could the path ever turn? It can't. How could the path ever turn? It can't turn. It needs to go all the way down to the left or to the right. Because if I were to put a 5 here, or even a 3, well, I can't put a 3 there. If I were to put a 5 here and a 5 here, the path isn't going to turn. The path isn't going to go straight, or the path will go straight. The path won't turn if they're equal. But the only way it could turn is if this digit was higher than this digit. But we can't go, like, we can't put a 4 here, because then we will run out of cells. We can't get 7 cells. We've already stepped down 1. If we went 4, 3, 2, 1, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, not 7. So we have to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but we can't turn ever. So we just have to do this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this just goes all the way across. And we can continue highlighting these if we want. These can't be 1s, of course. It might be useful to remember what can and cannot be a 1. And we might want to deal with, well, that can't be a 1 either. We can deal with this now. So let's start with this. Of course, it can't be 1 because there's a 1 in the column, and also it can't be a 1 because it's next to the 3. But also, it can't be an 8 because then these digits, one of them would be lower than 8, and then the Sisyphus clue would be more than 1 because it's only one step, so it only takes the one cell, like a one cell thermometer. But it's sort of like an inverse thermometer in all these directions. Like this would be the bulb, and it's pointed out in all directions. So I guess not really an inverse thermometer. We can even draw these thermometers if we really want to, just for fun. But I'm not going to because I don't know. I don't like doing that. But these two digits and this digit have to be higher than this digit. So how could this ever be a 7? These would both have to be 8. That can't be a 7. We're slowly whittling this down. But also, how could this cell be a 2? If that's a 2, we know that these two digits are higher than this digit. So if whatever Sisyphus clue comes to this cell, that must be the end, right? So this is kind of like a 1 next to this clue. If I had a 1 here, then that would be the very end of that clue. But this clue is like a 1 because it can't go past any of these borders. It's always going to be less than them. So if this clue were to go into there, then it would be 2, not 3. But how could we prevent it from going in there if this was a 2? Well, we'd have to put a 2 here so that it goes straight instead of curving. But we can't put a 2 there because there's a 2 here. This can't be a 2. So we're already hiding the 1 behind a 2 or 3, and this digit has to be bigger than this digit. So we're hiding the 1, and we're hiding this digit. So we're seeing 6 skyscrapers. So how could this not be a 2? If it's not a 2, if it was a 3, then we'd be hiding the 2, we'd be hiding the 1, and we'd be hiding this digit behind this one. So this has to be a 2. Oh, right. Now we can figure out that if this cell was the next digit along this 6 line, if it was a 4, then it would step down to the 2. And then we wouldn't have enough cells because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's only 5, not 6. And we can't make that any better. We have to go high digit, 6 or 8, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the high digit. We can't spare any expenses. We can't go to a 2 from a 4. So we have to put that 4 here. So this digit has to be higher than 4. So it's either 5, 6, 7, or 8. But it can't be 5 or 7. So it's a 6, 8, which gives us a 6, 8 pair. Not another one, but a 6, 8 pair. And this has to be a 3 or 4. Now this 5 can't come down to the 4. Well, we can draw our little line here. But this can't go down here because the 6 is 1, 2, 3 along its journey. If it came down from the 4 is on 1, 2, 3 of its journey. So then the 4 would stop on the 4, but then the 6 would keep going. And the 4 would be a 6-length thermometer. So actually, the 4 has to keep going. So this digit has to be either a 4 or lower. But it can't be a 1, of course, because then it would stop at 3 and not 4. We need to have a 3 in one of these two for the 4. And what else do we need in this row? We need 1, 2, 3, and 6. Well, that can't be a 2 because the 2's in the row. It can't be a 6 because of this 6 clue. And this can't be a 1 because it's blue. And this can't be a 2 or a 1 because then the 4 would end right away or it would end too early. Okay, but let's consider this digit. It's either 1 or 3. Find me blurry. It's either 1 or 3. And if it was a 1, was a 1, if it was a 1, oh, no, that's not yet. I can't do that yet. we have to do this first. If this, so the 4 needs a 3 in one of these two cells. Can it be that cell that the 3 that it moves into? I'm not saying can this be a 3. I'm saying can this be the cell that the 4 moves into? Well, if it is, then this is a 3 and this is a 1. So then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, not 6. So actually, this could still be a 3, but can't be the 3 that the 4 gets. So this has to be the 3. I'm just going to stop coloring blue, and I will continue this one. This could still be a 4 if this is a 3, because this could move into a smaller cell. Like if this is a 1, then this does move all the way over there. It doesn't take the 3, of course. Or even if this is a 3 itself, then this would move all the way over there. This could still be a 3 because this goes preferentially straight, not curving. So even if this was a 3, they'd be equal, so then this would have to go forward. But because this is now a 3, we can also mark this one as being more than 3 and this one as being more than 3. We can actually get rid of an 8 here because 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be too few skyscrapers. This can't be 7 for the same reason. 1, 2, 3, somewhere we get the 8. That's 4, that's not enough. So actually the 8 is in one of these two cells. What else do we know? We know that what else do we know? What else do we know? You know something. I'm sure of it. Um, right. Okay. So if this is a 1, this is what I was talking about before. If this was a 1, then this can't go 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and then have something there, or whatever. It can't start with a 3. So the 3, whatever digit this is, if this is a 1, the 3 is going to be hidden, which means that it has to be this one, because we already have 2 digits hidden, and this one is one of them. It has to be the 3 if the 3 is hidden. So therefore, this digit has to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because we need to get 6 digits. None of them can be hidden. But the 5, as Sven is showing us, is not going to work there. So we have to notice in this row is that the 3 is either here or here because of the 1 being hidden. The 3 is either here or here. But if the 3 is here, then the 5 must go there. And that does not work. This must be the 3. So now we can remove 4s from all these because this has to be higher than this one. This has to be a 6. This has to be a 2. This has to be a 1. That's an 8. Now we know that this cell actually doesn't go to this 2. It goes here. That was originally supposed to go up, but I realized that that was an error in my part, and then fixed it. So this is either a 5 or a 7, and this is where our 8 is. Now we can consider whether or not any of these, well, actually, we could have considered this before. Can any of these be 8? If I put an 8 here, well then all of these digits are hidden. That can't be the case. Because this can't be a 1, we have a 1 hidden and this hidden. So we can't hide any more digits. If this is an 8, these two are hidden and the 1 is hidden. So that would be 5 skyscrapers, not 6 skyscrapers. So the only place the 8 could go is there. That cannot be an 8. Can that be a 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just barely. This can just barely be a 6. But this can't be a 6, because if that was a 6, then since we can't have an 8, then these would be 5, 7, and this would be a 2, not a 1, or more. This we can't say goes down because this could still be a 1. It's kind of funny. We actually do know that this continues because if it went down, this 3 has to go to another cell, so then the 4 would be more than 4 cells long. So this is either a 1, 2, or 3. Because this is kind of like a thermometer. So now 8 is in one of these 2 cells, and 7 is in one of these 3 cells. We know that there's 3 skyscrapers from this direction. We're already hiding 2, 3, 4 cells, and we need to hide 5 cells. So we can only hide 1 more cell. If that was an 8, then these 2 would need to be in order. If that was an 8, then only one of these 3 could be hidden by the others. What else do we know? We know that this cell needs to be fulfilled with its Sisyphus clue. But if that was a 2, the only way to make this go any other direction than here, which would just stop, this would be sort of like a dead end, would be to put a 2 here, but there's already a 2 there. It's sort of the same idea as when we got rid of a 2 from here. So this is either 3 or 4, and we know that one of these 2 is a 2. And if that was a 2, the only way we fulfill this skyscraper clue is to put 1 and 8, but there's already a 1 in this row, so this cannot be a 2. Because otherwise, whatever we put, if this is a 2, whatever we put here, 3, whatever, is going to be more than 2 skyscrapers, and then if we put an 8 here, that would be 3. Wherever we put the 8, it will be 3. This can never be a 2. That is a 2. We get 1, 2. This is obviously hidden, so 1, 2. We need to see 5, so we see 3. We're going to see the 7 for sure, because it's not hidden by anything else. And we're going to see the 6 for sure, because the 7 is behind it. 6 is in here, 7 is in here. So even if the 7 was there, the 6 would be here, and we would see it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all of them. So if this digit was anything but a 6, if it was anything but a 6, if it was a 3, then we would see 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we need to stop that. We need to put the 6 there so that we don't see anything else. So then in this row, we know that the 7 is after the 8. It's more left than the 8. We see 6, then 8. So the 7 couldn't go there, for example, or there. So the 7 would be in one of these 3 cells. The 8 has to be in one of these cells. And that's all this 2 is telling us now. This obviously can't go to the, well, it can go to the 7 actually, or the 6 actually. My mistake. But now if we look at this column, there's only one place for 3, and that's 3 in the corner, that's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. and there's only one place for 4. So now we know that 4 is the digit that is hidden here. So we have to either have 1 or 5 there. We have to have 1, 5, or 6 here. We have to have 1, 6, or 7, and 1 or 7 there. Because one of these is the 1, and then that cell is not what it is, so then we move everything down, but they can only be one of these. That's a 5, that one, so that is a 5. So either this is a 1, 6, 7, a 6, 1, 7, or a 6, 7, 1. We don't know which one yet. That can't be a 1 because then that would just go down, and that's 5 cells, not 6 cells, so the 1 has to go right there. And in fact, again, what we thought this 3 was going to do, it did not go down to 1, it went straight. This is kind of a funny clue because I kept thinking, oh, this is going to go down, and then it didn't. Oh, this is going to go up, and then it didn't. And it just so happened to be that way, which was pretty funny. This can't go down to the 6, actually, because if it went down to the 6, then it would go to the 4 instead. It can't go to the 6. So this digit either needs to be a 4 or less than a 4. So this is a 3 or 4, which pairs up with that one, which means these 3 cells are 6, 7, 8, or 5. I almost said are 9, but no, or 5. Which means that there's no more 8s in these 3 columns. So we don't have any 8s in those anyway, so this column doesn't have an 8 in here, so that has to be the 8. I don't know if I ever found that before, but it's true. Well, I probably did find it before, but I don't know if I used this thing before. But anyways, this goes to here. And then obviously this digit is going to be greater than that digit. So this has to come down. And it can't be a 2 and it can't be a 1. So this has to be 3, 4, and then something higher than it, which fixes the 3 and the 4 over here. But now these 2 digits can't be lower than 3. They have to be higher than 3. So they're 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. Neither of them can be 4s. I just removed 5. They can both be 5. And that digit is now a 7 for sure. So now it doesn't matter where we put the 8. We already have our 3 skyscrapers. I wonder if that's redundant as well. It might be. Neither of these cells can be 1, because if they were, then this would be a 2 clue instead of a 3 clue, so that has to be a 1. Otherwise, there's no 1 in this column. That's either a 5 or a 6, and it can't be a 5 apparently, so it's a 6. Now that's a 5 down there. These 3 are 4, 3, and 6. So the 7 either goes here. Well, it can't go down, because if it went down, then that would be saying that 6 is less than 3. We need to have a digit less than 3 in this cell, which can't be 8, of course. So that's an 8. This can't be a 1, so that has to be the 1 in this column. That's a 6 now, either 7 or 1. This has to be a 2 because that has to be less than 3. That's a 4. And in fact, we need a 2 in one of these 2 cells now. Don't know which one, but it needs to be a 2. This 2 needs to go to something lower than a 2, so it has to be a 1 in that cell. This is now a 2-7 pair. That's a 7 and that's a 1. Get rid of these pencil marks. That can't be a 6 apparently because of this 6. If that was a 6, that would work, yeah, with this 4 clue. I think all we have left is this 4 clue at the bottom and this 6, which still hasn't been completed. So a 2 needs to go in one of those two, so this can't be a 2. So what else can that be? That can be a 4 or a 7 or a 3 maybe? What about this digit? That has to be 4, 6, 7, or 8. Apparently it can't be anything but 4, so that is a 4, which means this is a 6, that's a 3, that's a 4, not a 4, it's not a 6, so that is a 6. Last place in the row. If that was a 7, we would have 1, 2, 3, not 4, so that can't be a 7. One of these two has to be a 7. In this row, we need a 3, that's the 3. In this column, we need a 2 and a 7. We need a 2, 5, or 7 here. This is 2, 5, or 7. It can't be a 7 because of things we already discussed. And it can't actually be a 5 because that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of 4. So it needs to be a 2, which gives us a 7 and a 2, and a 7 and a 2. So I thought for a second this went down, but of course it goes this way, and then of course it ends on the 1. This can't actually go to a 1, so maybe we could have gotten that as, maybe we could have gotten this one as a 2 earlier, but we couldn't have resolved everything, of course, because I added this clue to resolve everything, so I know that we can't resolve everything. All right, we finished that one in quite a bit of time for the person who said it, but I was explaining everything as I went, of course, so more to just to solve than that. And of course, solve counter 1 because this is a new link, but I'll paste both the different links and the single link below if you want to try with a partner or whatever. But thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked this puzzle. And I hope you liked the video and you subscribed, and whatever else, there's Patreon links below, all that fun jazz. Yeah. All right. I hope you enjoy Setter Spotlight 3 when it comes. It'll come soon. Promise. All right. See you later and have a good day.